On January 11th, President Biden announced that the U.S. and UK coalition had launched military strikes against Iran-backed Houthi forces in Yemen. The reason behind this action is the intolerable and relentless attacks by the Houthi forces on the Red Sea waterway. The footage we are witnessing is from the U.S. Central Command. On January 11th, at 2:30 a.m. local time, U.S. military aircraft took off from the aircraft carrier USS Eisenhower. The first to take off was an E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft, followed by F-18 Super Hornets. We can hear the roar of the aircraft engines, and the engines shooting out bright flames evoke a sense of excitement. This strike primarily involved long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles and fighter jets. The U.S. Department of Defense stated that over 150 precision-guided bombs were used in the attack on more than 60 targets across 30 locations. These targets included Houthi command centers, ammunition depots, warehouses, production facilities, radar installations, and missile launch systems, among others. On the morning of January 13th, the U.S. continued its strikes against the Houthi forces, with the destroyer USS Carnegie launching Tomahawk cruise missiles at Houthi radar stations at 3:45 a.m. Looking at the map, Yemen is currently controlled by various factions. The southern port city of Aden is under government control, while the northern city of Sana'a and its surroundings are controlled by Iran-backed Houthi forces. The U.S. airstrikes cover the entire area controlled by the Houthi forces. The U.S. employed diverse means of attack, with the aircraft carrier being a significant asset. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, 22 aircraft from the USS Eisenhower carrier participated in the mission, primarily F-18 Super Hornets for combat tasks and E-2 Hawkeye for early warning. F-18s cannot launch Tomahawk cruise missiles due to their size and cost, as these missiles can be fired from ships at a long distance. F-18s can, however, launch precision-guided bombs such as JDAM and AGM-154, also known as JSOW. These bombs, relying on gliding components, can achieve a range of over 100 kilometers, making them undetectable or interceptable by the Houthi forces' air defense capabilities. Deploying F-18s to launch precision-guided bombs is a cost-effective approach. Additionally, F-18s can launch various missiles, such as AGM-158 and AGM-65, according to reports. In this instance, the U.S. reportedly used GBU-24 Paveway 3 laser-guided bombs, a widely used weapon across different aircraft models, known for its significant power and relatively lower cost, priced at $50,000 per bomb in 2001. The second means of attack is the nuclear submarine, with U.S. officials stating that the Ohio-class nuclear submarine USS Florida entered the Red Sea area on October 23 and participated in the strikes against Houthi forces in Yemen. The USS Florida nuclear submarine is worth mentioning because it was originally a ballistic missile submarine but was later converted into a cruise missile submarine. The Ohio-class submarines are among the most powerful ballistic missile submarines globally, with a submerged displacement of 19,000 tons and a length of 170 meters. The formidable aspect lies in their ability to carry 24 Trident submarine-launched ballistic missiles, each with 8 nuclear warheads, totaling 192 warheads. This capability could potentially destroy any country, showcasing the terrifying nature of Ohio-class submarines. Originally developed for nuclear deterrence during the Cold War, these submarines were strategically positioned deep in the ocean, making it impossible for adversaries to know their exact location. If any country dared to launch a nuclear strike against the U.S., a single Ohio-class submarine could annihilate the entire enemy nation. However, with the end of the Cold War in the 1990s, the utility of the Ohio-class submarines diminished. Out of the 18 submarines built, 4 were converted into cruise missile submarines: Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia. The USS Florida, in this instance, carried out the strikes in the Red Sea region. During the conversion, 22 out of the 24 launch tubes were modified into vertical launch systems, capable of carrying 7 Tomahawk cruise missiles each, resulting in a total capacity of 154 missiles. The remaining 2 tubes were converted into a lockout chamber used for transporting Navy SEALs or Marine Corps personnel, accommodating up to 66 individuals. Therefore, the USS Florida submarine can execute long-range ground strike missions and also carry out special operations with special forces. Apart from submarines, the third means of attack for the U.S. involves cruisers and destroyers. In this particular strike, the U.S. deployed the Philippine Sea guided missile cruiser and 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, the USS Mason and USS Gravely. These warships possess 96 vertical launch systems, typically carrying 20 to 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles, with the remaining launch units dedicated to anti-aircraft missiles, serving as a crucial component of Carrier Strike Group air defense. In addition, the UK also participated in the strikes, with government officials stating that 4 British Typhoon fighter jets conducted aerial strikes on 14 Yemeni armed targets after taking off from a British airbase in Cyprus. The specific weapons used were not disclosed, but it's likely that the UK employed Storm Shadow cruise missiles, the same missiles provided to Ukraine, which were used in the past to attack Russian targets in Crimea. Despite the involvement of powerful weapons and the joint efforts of the US and UK, it's crucial to note the humorous response from the Houthi forces. In a tweet shortly after the US airstrikes, they claimed to have shot down an F-22 fighter jet. This assertion is not only unfounded but also comical. The F-22 is a superior air superiority fighter, not tasked with ground strike missions, and the Houthi forces' best aircraft is an outdated F-5 fighter, far from capable of engaging an F-22. The joint military action by the U.S. and its allies against the Houthi forces has been a response to prolonged provocations. Since October 2023, the Houthi forces have attacked at least 27 civilian ships in the Red Sea, using weapons such as drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. Despite these provocations, the U.S. refrained from offensive actions for 3 months, focusing on peacekeeping missions in the region. However, the recent joint strikes were a direct response to Houthi aggression, signaling that such actions would not be tolerated. Looking ahead, the U.S. and its allies are likely to continue executing precise long-range strikes until the Houthi forces cease their attacks on civilian ships in the Red Sea region.